Hit it!
Save your time, save your money. Welcome to Rotten Real Roll. I'm Sinmin. Today, we're going to talk about Jackie Chan's latest Netflix film, Hidden Strike. As someone who grew up watching Jackie Chan's films, I really don't want to categorize this film as a bad movie. In fact, despite Jackie Chan's films not being known for their deep artistic expression, they usually qualify as entertaining, and often, they even shine. So far, it seems like no one can quite match Jackie Chan when it comes to the action comedy genre. However, I must admit that out of the more than 60 Jackie Chan movies I've watched, Hidden Strike seems to set a new low. A regrettable low in terms of quality. What's even more disappointing is that it didn't have to be this bad. If you take a look at the cast, you'll notice that this film had the potential to easily surpass the Rush Hour series. Not that the latter represents Jackie Chan's highest caliber. Besides Jackie Chan, John Cena is an actor I really like. His work in The Peacekeeper last year was one of my favorite series in the past 2 years. Both actors could have had a great chemistry, especially in combining comedy and action.
Slow and put in the hole.
Some details in this movie hinted at that potential. However, in the end, it became a bad movie. I gave it a 5.6 rating, with 3 points coming from the very Jackie Chan-esque second half. A part where the two leads work well together, delivering humorous action scenes. The segment where Jackie Chan toyed with terrorists in bubbles even reminded me of his early classic, Project 8. But that's about it. Let's first review the story background of this film. Hidden Strike tells the story of Jackie Chan, who plays the role of a captain in a private security company. He rushes to the Middle East to protect a Chinese state-owned oil field under attack by American terrorists. In the movie, John Cena portrays a mercenary and a former member of the U.S. Navy SEALs. He unwittingly becomes an accomplice in the kidnapping of Chinese hostages by terrorists. After discovering the truth, he joins forces with Jackie Chan to engage the terrorists. Yes, you read that correctly. The setting is the Middle East, and the terrorists are Americans. If you've seen more Chinese films, you might not be surprised by such a setup. In an earlier Chinese blockbuster, Wolf Warrior 2, which shattered box office records with an astounding $800 million in revenue, the protagonist played by Wu Jing takes on American terrorists. Similarly, in another Chinese film titled Operation Red Sea, although it doesn't feature American terrorists during a tank chase scene, the terrorists drive American-made M60 tanks, while the victorious Chinese soldiers operate former Soviet Union T-70 tanks. Another well-known example is Donnie Yen's IP Man series. In the first installment, Donnie Yen's character, IP Man, fights against Japanese soldiers who invaded China. However, as the series progresses, with IP Man's journey to Hong Kong in the United States, his opponents gradually shift from British boxers to an American legend, Mike Tyson. Ultimately, it culminates in IP Man single-handedly challenging a U.S. Marine Corps base, reminiscent of Bruce Lee's iconic showdown at the Hankou Dojo in Fists of Fury. In this context, it's not surprising that this movie inevitably reflects Chinese values as part of the official narrative and propaganda. However, for a movie, this isn't necessarily a problem. After all, adhering to a sense of nationalism and emphasizing these values is not a big deal. For example, Bruce Lee's iconic works, which also embraced nationalist values, were extraordinarily captivating and enjoyed immense popularity. Similarly, the Top Gun series, often seen by many as a recruitment ad for the U.S. Navy, is still regarded as a classic to this day. The issue with this movie is that it doesn't fill Jackie Chan enough, or rather, it doesn't leverage Jackie Chan's strengths effectively.
Slow and put in the hole.
Compared to other Chinese propaganda films, Hidden Strike does show some restraint. It's evident that director Scott Waugh, along with Jackie Chan himself, attempted to strike a balance between their propaganda duties and the movie's commercial nature. And like scenes like the flag-raising spectacle that instantly scares off terrorists in Wolf Warrior 2, Jackie Chan's character, cleverly cast as the head of a private security company, avoids awkward promises like, "Comrades, rest assured, the motherland will bring every one of you home safely." If he had portrayed a Chinese soldier, such cringeworthy lines would have undoubtedly been inserted. While such a setting raises eyebrows, it's well known that China does not permit the existence of private mercenaries. Even private security firms aren't allowed to carry firearms when conducting overseas missions. However, in order to avoid a storyline that felt overly rigidly tied to official narratives, this kind of unrealistic premise had to be included. Fortunately, this isn't a film aiming for a serious portrayal of real-world issues, so it doesn't pose a significant problem. However, the awkwardness stemming from the propaganda is still unavoidable in this movie. The first awkward point is the emotional subplot between Jackie Chan and his daughter. Sharing such an intimate issue between a father and daughter in front of so many people is already awkward. What's even more awkward is the content of their conversation. The daughter blames her father for not taking care of her and her mother when she was young, and not being at home due to long-term work commitments, leading to their divorce. The reason given by the father is even more cringeworthy, stating that he had to go on business trips to serve the country, as if he were conducting a collective propaganda lecture in front of dozens of people. The second awkward point is the overall atmosphere of the film, especially in the first half, to establish the imposing image of the male lead. The first half of the movie presents a somber and even oppressive atmosphere. For the initial tens of minutes, it's challenging to see Jackie Chan smile. However, we all know that Jackie Chan's greatest characteristic lies in his innate sense of humor and ability to improvise witty lines. In his previous works, he portrayed characters who were easygoing, rule-bending, greedy, sometimes cowardly, and occasionally lecherous.
What's she doing, man?
She's just standing around not doing much.
But ultimately good-hearted individuals. His signature style of acting is impossible to apply in this film, considering that he represents the image of a Chinese soldier, despite an unofficial role. These constraints resulted in Jackie Chan being unable to relax and be himself in the first part of the film. It wasn't until John Cena appeared and introduced the subplot of pursuing Jackie Chan's daughter that this awkwardness was broken.
That booty? I mean, I'm no freak kind of guy, but
She's my daughter.
However, such contrived design created a significant disconnection in the film, a feature not seen in any previous Jackie Chan movie. Aside from this, there are several more points worth criticizing. One of the most criticized aspects is the horrendous special effects throughout the movie. They are so cheap that it's unbelievable that this is a Jackie Chan film. Another point is the scene at the end where the main characters drive a rocket-powered truck into the main villain. Even though the heroes had already seriously injured the villains, they still had to step on the gas, causing everyone to fall off a cliff together. While it may have been intended to create tension, this brainless design is simply baffling. Furthermore, at the beginning, the actions of the antagonists don't make much sense. For instance, why did they shoot John Cena's brother, which greatly angered the second male lead? I couldn't fathom the motivation behind this action. Also, after the killing, the antagonists initially planned to frame this as Chinese retaliation.
Take him back to the radio tower and make it look like Chinese payback, okay?
This led me to believe that the villains would employ some clever deception methods. Yet, within moments, John Cena somehow automatically knows the identity of the culprits, as if the director forgot this plot point. Lastly, in the fight scene in the armory between Cena and Jackie Chan, a forklift nearly impales Cena's brother's corpse, but Jackie Chan then drags the corpse away to protect it. However, a few minutes later, when the two of them calmly leave the scene, Cena doesn't take his brother's body with him. Instead, it's left to rot there. This is a puzzling inconsistency in the plot. Despite pointing out these flaws, I can still see some highlights in this movie. The most crucial aspect is the chemistry between Jackie Chan and John Cena. And like Chris Tucker,
What? Nothing. I say nothing.
You said something.
John Cena brings a natural, goofy charm to the screen. This quality was evident in The Peacekeeper, and when they team up with Jackie Chan, their dynamic is not only better than Rush Hour but also surpasses most Hollywood comedy duos of recent years.
I want to shoot you.
For Cena, as long as he avoids making more bad movies in China, his future prospects are promising. As for Jackie Chan,
56 years film industry, making more than 200 films, I break so many bones. Finally, this is mine.
As mentioned in the title, this might be the best movie he's made in the last decade. He is unlikely to return to Hollywood or make another purely Hong Kong film. He's getting older and cannot perform as many action scenes as before. It's a harsh reality, but it's true. Well, that's all for today. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like, subscribe, and share our video. And don't forget to ring the bell for updates, so that YouTube's algorithm can better recommend our channel. See ya!